So you've got part 1 done. It asks you to go ahead and go to page layout and change the orientation of the page to a landscape layout. Mine already is at that layout. Now this view that you're looking at right here is called the page layout view. It's a little distracting sometimes. So if this view is distracting, you can switch back to your normal view. It'll make it look like the header and footer is gone, but it's actually just kind of hidden. A lot cleaner view to work with. And it's a lot easier to work with some of the columns as well. So for example, it's going to have you highlight column A, and then it's going to have you change the column width. Now you can do it a couple of different ways. You already know how to click and drag it. Now depending on how you've been working with your columns, it's either going to show your column in centimeters or in inches. So if it's in centimeters, it's going to want it to be set 20. If it's in inches, it's going to be 2. It's not a direct translation, but the other way is to go ahead and click on Format Column Width, and you can actually type in the number 20 or 2, depending on what you're working with. This one also wants you to highlight columns B through E, which is basically all the data here, and make it either 10, if you're in millimeters, or 0.75, so mine is still in millimeters. Then it has you highlight columns F and G and make them 15. And I'm going to go down to column width, type in a 15, and there you go. Now they're all snapped and they're nice and equal. Again, the other way you could do that is to kind of click and drag, and you can see the little width is actually displayed up there. That works too, but it's not quite as easy. Then I want you to highlight row 1 and make it bold and centered, and make it align middle vertical. And middle vertical is this one right here, where top to bottom it's also aligned. It looks slightly different. Then I want you to highlight rows 1 and 2 and highlight or insert what's called a thick box border. All the borders are right here. Thick box is right here. And you can see when I click off of it, that's how it added that kind of thick underlining effect. It also wants you to do that under a couple other locations. So kind of read the worksheet, see where those are. And that's how you're going to end up with those thick underlines. It also wants you to highlight cells A2, which is right here, and A4, and A12, and A14 to all be bold. So you can just kind of click through those, and those are really just sort of subtitles that you're making bold. And you can also highlight all of those at once if you hold down the Control key when you click, and it will allow you to select multiple things all at once, and you can click on the bold. Then it also wants you to highlight row 14 and change it so that the decimal places are set to 2. Now you're not going to see the effects of this, but it will come into play when you are ready to actually find out the averages. There's a couple of different ways to do it. One is under the number dialog box. You pop this out, and it will actually let you type in the number of decimal places right here. If you select number, do the specifics, click OK. And when this comes out to an average, usually the average has tons of decimal places. This way it rounds it down to the nearest second. And then it also wants you to highlight column G and make it percentage. And you can do it one of 2 ways. You can either change it to percentage right here, or you can just simply click on the percent symbol. All right. And then it also wants you to highlight rows 5 through 10. Now on the worksheet it says 4 through 9, but it's actually wrong. It should be 5 through 10. And if you go to the Home tab, underneath Editing, you can actually sort those alphabetically A to Z. So you just typed in Joe, Kevin, Sarah, Julie. But if you sort it, that's how you can alphabetically sort your gradebook. Right? And that's really all there is to part 2. When you're done with part 2, move on to part 3, which has you add in the formulas over here on the right and some